The Walking Dead update sucks. With the Walking Dead chapter coming out recently, there's been a massive overhaul on survivor items, and we also got balance changes to many killers and items as well. What led me to making this video was none of that though. I wanted to make this video to talk about just how problematic some of these changes actually are. Quick intermission, the video took me a while to make because I originally had another video planned, but life happened and I got kind of lazy. But I just want to thank you for the support on the last video. I did not expect it to turn out that way for my first video, and yeah. This new chapter brought Red Grimes and Michonne into the game. And it also brought a new survivor item called the Fog Vial. It's partially what made me make this video, as well as something else that I'll be mentioning later. With every new patch comes balance changes, and I think with this one, it was mostly good, but I'll mostly be focusing on the bad ones because I'm a hater. Fight me. Okay, let's start with the survivor items and add-on overhauls. So behavior changed how charges work with keys and maps. They use tokens now, which pretty sure that's why they gutted Franklin's. But anyways, they also changed most of the add-ons for both of these. These items weren't really used outside of any like niche scenarios or builds, but I think it's cool that they're trying to make them viable. Like, sure, you get windows of opportunity with the map, and the iridescent add-on's low-key kind of good, but I just don't see why you'd run this over a syringe or a brand new port. And don't get me started with this new fog vial. In my opinion, this new item is so unhealthy for the game. And look, I know it's only been a few days, but before you come at me, let me give my thoughts. I'm not inherently calling it overpowered because it's not, but it's unhealthy and there's a difference. So this new fog vial comes in 3 rarities, being common, uncommon, and rare, and they have a little bit of differences. You can pause to read if you're curious. So the main reasons I think it's unhealthy is because it's unique in the way it works. It doesn't use any charges or tokens. It actually recharges over time, and this leads to it getting so much passive value, just like Vigil and Syringes. Not only do you get passive value, but it has like 2 perks built into it, kind of. You get a mini effect of distortion and lightweight. Keep in mind, this is to anybody in its radius. Oh, but maps give you windows of opportunity. Shut up! Listen, it wouldn't be such a big problem if it had a token or, charge based system, but it comes back every 60 to 70 seconds. Now, keep in mind, this is just like passively. If you have to recharge it by doing an objective or even side objective like totems, I wouldn't mind. I think the effect is way too strong and it has too many upsides with literally like no downsides. And I haven't even talked about the killer interactions with this when it comes to perks. More on that later, but if you have 2 brain cells and you're not a baboon and you time your fog vial right, you literally counter so many killer perks. Now, do I think fog vials are gonna be meta or are meta? No, but it still has an unhealthy design. Let me know in the comments if I'm over exaggerating, but that's just my opinion on the new fog vials. Alright, let's talk about the survivor perk balance changes. I don't inherently think they did anything wrong. They just built a few niche perks, but what the hell is the point of running any of those when you can just run these? Brimburst effectively allowing you to hold W way more effectively, and you can play way more aggressively with little to no punishment. DS giving you a second chance. Botany with the insane healing numbers, and it's even better with the medkit. Dramaturgy being the new dead art for distance. OTR making it so that you have another second chance and built-in Iron Will. Vigil's numbers being absolutely disgusting and getting so much passive value. It's actually crazy to me how Vigil and Body Knowledge flew under the radar for balance changes this patch, but they nerfed the only perk used for countering survivor items. As I'm editing and recording this, there's actually been no survivor nerfs to their perks, and there's been 2 nerfs to killer perks. I mentioned in my last video that if behavior continues going down this route, they'll just be catering towards survivors and it'll make the game extremely hard for the killer side. And I don't want any gooch licking survivor mins getting on my ass about this, because if you play both sides 50-50, you'll understand my frustration. With that said, let's get into the killer side of things and see their perk changes. They buffed a few niche perks like Dragon's Grip and Hubris, but I don't see the point in running any of these when Vigil literally counteracts this buff. I think it's a good thing that behavior buffs these type of perks because, gen regression is so boring to go against and play with, but these perks don't matter unless they nerf Vigil. My biggest gripe with this chapter is they give survivors a new toy to play with, and they nerfed the only 2 perks that deal with items. Like, do you see the logic in this balancing? And I will die on the hill that behavior took the lazy route because they didn't know how to code Franklin's interacting with the new survivor items. I honestly had a little bit of hope that this wouldn't make it out of the PTP, but once I found out, I just dropped to my knees in the middle of a Walmart and started bawling. Okay, let's talk about some actual good changes. They finally buffed the Pyramid Head after 5 long years, and they reworked most of his add-ons. The only thing I have a problem with is they gave survivors haste and endurance out of the cages, which is kind of like, bruh. The reason why he was so good was because he was an excellent tunneler, and he's still really good at this, but it just kind of, nerfs his kit a little. He still bypasses perks like off the record, decisive strike. So like I said, he's still really good, but maybe it's because I'm such an old head and I've been playing this game for a long time that I was just, used to him not giving you endurance and haste. But overall, behavior did cook with these pyramid hit changes. He finally doesn't only have to use 3 add-ons. But what do I know? I'm just a dirty little Rize main, somebody punish me. Preferably a goth girl. Okay, next thing, pick buffs. I don't have much to say. I'm just kind of glad that they're buffing, these D to C tier killers. One thing I do want to say is that there is a chase bug in the game. It's caused by the fog valves, and basically you don't initiate chase with killers, and this backfires on survivors because you might think that there's no enemy blocker because there isn't, and they don't gain bloodlust. But if you're playing against a pig, the pig is able to chase you with your head trap active, and it doesn't take a genius to know that, that's horrible. Okay, and moving on to the second reason why I made this video, this fat, dumbass, bitch-ass character. I know it seems a little harsh, but I'm the #1 clown hater in the world. If there's no clown haters left in the world, that means I'm dead. No disrespect to any of the clown mains, I just hate the character, not you guys. From what I remember, when they released the numbers in the PTB, everybody was calling it a nerf. And they did this to mitigate the purple bottle spam. And it kind of backfired because they buffed the haste bottles and now everybody's spamming piss bottles instead. And every clan I've gone against is running Stabiffle, so you literally get like no distance and it's like so uninteractive. If you're caught lacking out of position and you're not next to any resources, you're literally cooked. So not only does this encourage comp dropping and playing in the most objectively boring way for both sides, but it's just so miserable for the survivor side. I can't speak too much on the clown's behalf because I don't really play clowns, so if there's any clown players that are having fun, good for you. And I stand by the belief that you shouldn't be playing for others' fun. You should be doing what you think is fun. So if clown players think this is fun, good for them. But, I personally, for, playing killer, don't find it fun when I have to break pallets because of pre-dropping menaces. If I was on the behavior balance team, I'd just give Clown the score merchant treatment, not because he deserves it. I'm just like the biggest clown hater, but I digress. I think they just gotta tone down his kit a little bit and he'll be perfectly fine. Last thing when it comes to killer balance changes is they actually reverted the night changes, so he's not absolutely horrible now. They went the safe route and just gave him some quality of life changes, which I think is perfectly fine. Last thing I wanted to talk about in this video was the amount of bugs this patch came out with. I feel like 1 step forward for behavior is like 10 steps back. But anyways, I had to go into the cesspool known as DVD Twitter. I also use a few YouTube videos for some other insights. If you love yourself and you're employed, do not go to DVD Twitter. I'll start off with the tame bugs, and then progressively it'll get worse. I'm not gonna talk about every single bug, and if there's any I missed, just let me know in the comments. First thing we got is this stripper pole, loading into the match. It's pretty harmless, and it would have been funny if this, patch didn't have so many other bugs. Xenomorph able to see dream palettes, Leatherface's model being bugged, some survivors not holding the fog valve correctly, and the biggest and baddest of them all that I already mentioned is the no chase bug, essentially creating infinites for survivors. Another reason to play Blight and Nerds, yay! I find it so crazy how the last 3 licensed chapters came out with this many bugs. Sorry for being such a negative Nancy this whole video, but if you're having fun in this game, good for you, I'm happy for you. Don't take everything I said to heart. Thank you for watching.